Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, we have a story called Only Glass Separates Us. Enjoy. It was about 9 p.m. I was outside in the backyard, letting my dog do his business. It was a decent-sized yard, 3 sides surrounded by a fence, and trees just beyond the perimeter. My wife's rose bushes lined the inside of the fence. There was also a children's slide, but it rusted not long after this incident, and it leaned unsafely to one side, so I trashed it. I stood a few feet from the slide, which was 10 feet to the left of the back door, a sliding glass door, which was open a hand's length. I always left it open as there was a room with another door between the back door and the living room. Either way, I was staring up at the stars, my arms folded together. I was shivering because the night was cold, but the sky was clear. The sky had my attention. The moon was bigger than I had ever seen before or since. My dog was sniffing around some leaves and getting close to choosing the right spot to do his duty. All of a sudden, I heard him growl, and then, almost immediately, whimper. I looked down and noticed his hair standing up, which made the goose flesh on my arms bump up. Just then, my dog took off, running past me and through the open back door behind me. I tried to call his name, but a strange noise stopped me, or rather, the lack of noise. The night sounds had halted. No crickets, no wind through the leaves, just silence for a long moment. My heart dared not beat as sweat dripped from my brow. Then, I heard rustling behind my fence. I saw something strange by a tree branch. It was difficult to see, but I could see one thing for sure. Its eyes. They were black. The moonlight glistened and reflected the horror on my face back to me. Suddenly, with ease and unnatural speed, it jumped the fence. Those claws, I saw them first before noticing its lanky frame. I'm not a large man, but even bent over as the thing was, I could tell that it was taller than me, yet powerful with its thin arms. Its lean, muscular legs were bent oddly beneath it. I couldn't spy the feet as they were hidden by the leaves and grass. I assumed it had clawed feet as well. Then it shifted to its right. It sprang, as if in slow motion like a frog in some nature show, onto the slide. It let out a low grunt and raised one leg. I stood so near it, unmoving. It was like I was in a trance. I know it was fear now, but back then I couldn't believe why I wasn't moving. I heard what I thought was a trickle of water run down the slide, and the thing let out a loud, unnerving giggle. I felt my trance loosen, and I turned to run. I heard metal grinding behind me as I started my legs into motion. They felt like rubber. They bounced, shakily, from left to right. Something hit my back, and I fell against the wall of my home. I was so close to the door. I turned my eyes to the left. It was almost upon me. Its teeth were sharp and many. It growled. I jumped and struggled to my feet. I heard a sound like a whip and a crack. My sides and back stung with pain. Blood ran down my body. I kicked a leg back as I neared the door. Dear God, let me in, I thought. I heard another awful crack, and I fell into the back room of my house. My legs stung like razor blades had slid through them. The pain was awful, but I had no time to think about it. I immediately turned around. With all my strength, I slid the door shut. I was surprised by my strength because it slammed loudly. I was on my knees behind the glass door. On the other side was that thing. It kneeled down and smiled. I breathed heavily, and my heart beat loudly, almost too much so. Then it spoke with a hideous hiss. At least I think it did. I'm positive it did. It's only glass, it hissed, tapped the door. Glass. I closed my eyes as it struck the door. Large shards of glass flew, cutting my arms and chest. I howled in pain and fell backwards. I heard a familiar sound. My dog barked and jumped beside me. A claw reached down for me, and my friend bit down upon the thing's wrist. The creature grunted, and I grabbed a piece of glass. It hurt my hand, but I shoved it forward. I missed, hitting the door instead. My dog bounced up and down, dangling from the monster's wrist. I groaned out of desperation and aimed again. Meanwhile, the creature smashed a bigger hole into the door with its other clawed hand. I let fly again. This time I hit my mark, center mass. The creature wailed with pain and rolled backward onto my lawn, taking my dog with it. I moaned something I can't recall now. It scrambled to its feet on those gangly legs. I attempted to go through the shattered glass door, but I froze. It had my dog between its claws, looking almost like a cage made of sharp bone. My memory is faint now, but I'm positive, it whispered something. I wish I could remember. As it shook its head slowly, my dog only whimpered. I grew angry and afraid. Then it turned and leapt over the fence. I ran through the door, slicing my arms. I made it to the fence and scanned with my eyes in all directions, but it was hopeless. It was gone, and so was my dog, Sam. After what seemed like an eternity, I went inside. I locked the living room back door and took a hot bath, cleaning my wounds. I toweled off, bandaged my arms and legs and back as best as I could. Blood seeped through the bandages, but I didn't care much about that. I drank 2 glasses of water and went to bed. I didn't sleep long, and it was a sleep only nightmares accompanied. Those haven't stopped. On some cold nights, when I'm staring out my window, noticing the bright moon, I think I can hear it out there, giggling and saying with its hissing voice, "It's only glass."